Good day, folks. Everything new under the sun. I'm going to take a look at Matthew 24, chapter 24. I think it describes well what's happening in the last days. We'll get to that in a second. A couple of news items which I think are significant, and this does not have to do with Ukraine, although maybe it does. Pentagon says significant escalation in Russian jets endangering the lives of U.S. pilots over Syria. So the battle is ongoing, and Russia knows it's battling the United States in Ukraine, and they're ratcheting it up in Syria. Again, the U.S. is going to have no interest in coming up with a peace plan, and I think they might even use Syria as a way to goad Russia further into war, because war is making them a lot of money. It is a racket. It is the only way to support, with crutches, the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency and the U.S. petrodollar. This war in Ukraine is an existential threat for the United States as the current world superpower, and it's going down quickly as BRICS nations are looking to go to a gold standard, and so it's heating up. Again, Syria is the place to watch for Bible prophecy, because that's where all the big names are coming. Gog from the land of Magog, and the destruction of Damascus, Isaiah 17. Gog of the land of Magog, of course, is from Ezekiel 38. And as they march down to Israel, again, Psalm 83, wars and such, all Bible prophecy, the significant stuff is happening right in the Middle East there. So it's getting stirred up in Ukraine, and Russia is getting stirred up in Ukraine. But all this ends up with a march towards Israel. And the fulfillment of those prophecies, which haven't been fulfilled. Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38 and 39, the destruction of Damascus, and then the invasion of Israel, and of course Psalm 83 war, the inner circle of nations war Israel has, and then the outer circle and the battle against Iran and allied nations. So this was interesting. I just put this in there. U.S. halts funding to the Wuhan lab. Too little, too late, maybe. So there you go. That's interesting, right? I will leave it there. So this is significant news. The worst attack so far. This is Odessa, Ukraine. War News 247. Odessa is on fire. The screen of the air defense controller is filled with missiles. The grain is finished. Remember, the grain deal has just been canceled by Russia. I haven't spoken of it yet, and mostly everybody else has spoken of that. We know that Revelation chapter 6 speaks of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and one of those things is the great famine that is coming down the pipe. And I don't know. Yep, I have it here. Let's go over to here. This is my timeline of the return of the Lord, and one of the arrows there you can see in the middle. Famine, starvation, along with job losses, economic collapse, violence, and ultimately culminating in a global control of the Antichrist, which then kicks off that 7-year period. So as we get closer to famine, this idea that Russia has canceled the deal to try and get grain out of Ukraine, and it's all blown up anyways. Well, now the ports in Odessa are destroyed. According to Ukrainian officials, Odessa experienced one of the worst nights. The city has been burning for 24 hours as Russia has unleashed unprecedented intensity and bombardment, almost all of its air weapons. Why are they doing that? Well, they're going hardcore after Ukraine after the destruction or the attack on the bridge to Crimea, which was apparently done by a British submarine. Ukrainian officials admit launched by Russia 16 caliber missiles, 8 Kh-22s, 6 P-800 Onyx. I don't even know what these things are. 32 shaded drones. Ukrainian officials claim to have intercepted only 13 of the caliber missiles, 1 of the Kh-59s, and 23 of the drones. I don't know if those are the Dorito-shaped drones or not. For the first time, Ukrainians admit that they did not intercept all the missiles. Besides, they couldn't do otherwise as the city was burning all night. Air defenses of Ukrainian in Odessa, Nikolaev must have left us time, it says. Russia began dismantling Ukraine's ports related to ending of the grain deal. So they canceled the grain deal because of the bombing of the bridge to Crimea. And again, what does that lead us to? Well, it could very well be one of the things that causes us to head into global famine, from which the Antichrist will promise us a solution, but not before we pledge allegiance to him and accept the mark of the beast. So I think this is all coming down. And when you look at the world news that is happening, it's incredible. So this situation in Ukraine and these port cities now being attacked and on fire means that, grain isn't going to be taken out of there for the foreseeable future. Why? Not only are the ports on fire and the cities are on fire, but the Black Sea, though, the waterways are all mined. There's mines that are going to blow up any ship that's trying to get in there to move grain. So it's not enough to have cooperation between nations. You've got to then clear the minefield that has been put in place by Russia. So this is a long-term event now. A lot of the world, a part of the world that has relied on Ukraine as the breadbasket of Europe, really, cannot rely on it. And there's going to be great famine now and great pressure on, North America to supply this. So this was interesting. Tucker at Turning Point Action Conference. He was talking to a bunch of the leaders there, I guess, but he says no one is punished for lying. You think of the Biden administration, for example, Tucker, all the other folks there. You get punished for telling the truth. Now, he's speaking kind of straight from the scriptures as it relates to end-time Bible prophecy. We will be put before magistrates and judges, and we will need to give a word and give a reason for our faith in Jesus Christ. And we're going to be telling the truth, but they won't like it. Remember, when we say the truth about whatever it may be, pride, homosexuality, these sorts of things, we're called the bigots. We're called the haters, again, for telling the truth. The world will not accept the truth, and we will be led to the slaughter, really, related to telling the truth. So this is Matthew chapter 24, BibleGateway.com. It says, "For Jesus answered them when all the disciples asked, tell us, when will these things be? What shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" Two different things there. And he answered and said, "Take heed that no man deceive you," because there's going to be a lot of deception in the last days. And what are the key words today? Misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. That's deception. Although they think, that's a deception on our part, but that's not true. They call right wrong and wrong right. "Many shall come into my name, saying, I am the Christ. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass. The end is not yet." So this war in Ukraine, this is not the end yet. Things are going to get far, far worse than that. "Nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places." What does Revelation chapter 6 show as part of the four horsemen of the apocalypse? It speaks of famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of the sorrow. So I believe this happens in the first 3.5 years of the 7-year period. "They shall deliver you up to be afflicted to the authorities, the police, the judges, and they shall kill you. Because they don't like your truth. Your truth is hate to them. Your truth is violence to them. If you try and bring the Bible to them and scriptures, that is violent hatred, and you should be put in jail. Much worse than that, you should be killed because you're not a worthy human being. If you're against killing babies in the womb, that's hatred. That's violence against women. And you should be jailed for that. You should be put to death. And there's quotes of people saying, these people should be killed who believe in this stuff. It's incredible. And everything's upside down. Everything's backwards. "Many shall be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another." Again, this is the idea of the love of many waxing cold. "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." When the love of many waxes cold, when people hate each other, because they're on all different sides of a subject and nobody has any truth anymore, that's when violence will increase significantly, obviously, as the verse states. And that's the moment before government can take control and says there's too much civil disobedience, civil unrest. We will implement martial law, military rule, and we will give our power over to the United Nations to control society. And if you still are acting out, they will put you in jail. And that's what it says. You will be delivered up. They shall kill you, and you will be hated hated of all nations for my name's sake, for the sake of Jesus Christ. And that's what happened to the disciples. Pattern equals prophecy. That's what the Jews understand and believe. And so, as it was for the disciples, who many of them lost their lives, it will be for us in the last days, and it has been for Christians throughout the centuries. We will not be removed, or we will not get out of seeing tribulation. So, folks, Matthew 24, we're living it out. The disciples lived it out. Pattern equals prophecy. I think there's multiple fulfillments that can be seen through the eyes of the disciples in Matthew 24 here. And that's an indication that we are in the last days right now as these things are happening. Watch my prior video about iniquity abounding and the red lines and the big milestone items that were occurring just before the wrath of God fell on the world during Noah's flood, and on Sodom and Gomorrah, and elsewhere on nations that continued to despise God, that continued to kill healthy lives, babies, and killed discriminately, and that continued to disregard him and just flagrantly do violence and sinful things, and who had evil in their hearts continually. Be prepared, folks. We're living in the last days. Things are coming apart at the seams, and the Western nations, who are supposed to be Christian nations, have no interest in peace. They have all interest in control, in power, in pride, in creating world governments, and in corruption. The government is full. Governments, plural, are full of corruption, and the Antichrist is going to come in at a time when the world is desperate for a leader, and they will say, "Where is our leader?" During World War III, during economic collapse, during famine, they will accept him. They will worship him as God because he gets them out of it. Maybe it's just because he gives them a bunch of money, and they may not exactly believe it. But many will bow the knee, and unknowingly they will pledge allegiance to the Antichrist and not to Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching. We'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.